Perfect. I just got the message, so I'm good. All right. Well, welcome everyone. We really appreciate you tuning in today, and we are very, very honored to have part of our keynote speaker series to introduce to you Ruben Gonzalez today. Ruben was brought to us actually through a speaker series. We were trying to find someone that I was hopeful that the Olympics were going to take place. So we've been talking to Ruben now for several months, and being the eternal optimist that I am as a national lifestyle director, I knew that we would get there. So in order to just kind of kick off the thought process and learn more about what it really takes to be an Olympian, we invited Ruben to come speak to you. And most of you are probably at home because, again, when we designed this, it was on Zoom because we were still in the middle of COVID. But in some of our locations, we have our Trilogy members actually in the club. So the good news for them is that they can all be together as a group and see Ruben out there on the big screen, which he's used to. But I really became passionate about Ruben's story and thinking about, you know, I've been with Blue Star now for over 10 years. And one thing that I have really, really learned about our members is that they have so much in common and such great stories to tell. And they've possibly gone through raising their family and they're coming into this third chapter of their life. And so for me, when I read, and I have Ruben's little Champions Creed here, which he got a kick out of earlier when I say I read this every single day, because I really feel like as we get older, it's really time for us to kind of think about ourselves a little bit more, put ourselves maybe primary on the to-do list versus at the bottom of our to-do list. And, you know, you think about Ruben and he's going to bring to you some things like, you know, focus and discipline, building confidence and courage. And we all know that moving into a community and making that change, you know, it's got its pluses and its minuses. So I just wanted to bring to you someone on behalf of Blue Star and our Trilogy communities today, somebody that we hope that you'll enjoy speaking to. He's going to tell his story. There will be, Katie Beth will be coming on as I conclude here and talk to you a little bit about how do you ask questions. I really want to thank the lifestyle directors that are out in the field for putting together groups of our members that can come together and do this. And if not, you're at home and you're more comfortable, that's great too. It's the same quality programming. And for some of you that were on earlier, I'm based in Scottsdale, Arizona. I'm happy to report it's not 118 today like we had last week. So I'm going to go on mute. Katie Beth, who is our lifestyle coordinator and hosting the event today from Trilogy at the Monarch Club, will give you some rules of the road. I'll stay on in case there's any questions specific for lifestyle, but I'm going to turn it over to Katie Beth, and then we're going to rock and roll with Ruben. So thanks again for tuning in today. We really, really appreciate it, and we hope you enjoy today's presentation.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Sarah. As Sarah mentioned, my name is Katie Beth Refrigetti. I'm the lifestyle coordinator here at Trilogy at the Monarch Club. I'm very happy to be here as well. So how the questions are going to work is we're going to hear from Ruben and hear his story, and he's going to chat with us. And then you can, during the Zoom, in that little chat feature at the bottom there, it's a little speech bubble that says chat. Go ahead and just enter your question in there and we'll get to it as soon as we can. And we'll be moderating some questions later on. If you're featuring or watching this live at some of our clubs, feel free to just pop over to your lifestyle person and they will be happy to assist as well. Without further ado, Ruben, I'll let you take on.
All right. Well, I'm excited to get to share with you guys. I'm going to tell you a little bit about my story, and when we're done, you're going to think, if that guy can make it to the Olympics, we can do anything, because I give people hope. I'm an unlikely Olympian. Not super fast, super strong. I'm like your neighbor, okay? But I had a lot of heart and a lot of drive and refused to quit and perseverance. So, you know, you can outlast people and pass them. And so I was born in Argentina, and my dad was a chemical engineer with Exxon. We got transferred to the States back in 1968 when I was 6 years old, about to turn 59, so I'll save you the math. And so in Argentina, everybody speaks Spanish, they eat a lot of beef, play a lot of soccer, right? Drink a lot of wine too. And all of a sudden, I'm in Queens, New York. I'm the only kid in my class didn't speak English, and school was tough. And I learned how to speak English by reading adventure books. I love to read adventure books. I had them in English and Spanish, and I had a tutor, and somehow we put it all together. And so I just wanted my life to be an adventure, so I loved those books. And by the time I could speak English, I'd bring these books to school with me. I'd show them to my friends, and I said, man, I want my life to be like a book. And they looked at me kind of funny and said, what do you mean? I said, I want my life to be an adventure. I mean, how cool would that be? And so I always had my antennas out looking for the adventure. I'll never forget when I was 10 years old, I'm sitting on the sofa with my younger brother, Marcelo. We're watching the 1972 Sapporo, Japan Winter Olympics. First time I saw the Olympics on TV. And it's like, man, look at those skiers, man. They're flying down that mountain. And look at the people. They're going crazy with the cowbells. And the Olympics, that's what I'm going to do. I'm in the Olympics. And that's when I got the dream, right? But it was a pipe dream because I wasn't getting picked to play anything in school, right? And I was on the bench for kickball, okay? I mean, it was that bad. And so I didn't believe it was possible. If you don't believe something's possible, why even try, right? I wrote a book called The Courage to Succeed, and I believe that you need to have two types of courage to reach any goal, right? Or reach your dream. You have to have the courage to get started, and everything's hard at the beginning because you don't have any skills, and so you have to have the courage to endure. You have to stay in the game long enough to learn those skills, and then you use the skills to reach the dream. Well, the courage to get started, that comes from your belief, right? If you believe something's possible, heck, I'll give it a try. The courage to not quit, that comes from your desire. If you want something badly enough, ain't nothing gonna make you quit. Well, I had a lot of desire, but no belief, so I didn't do anything. And I read everything about the Olympics. I was an Olympic expert. I knew all the stories, all the records. I mean, I was an Olympic groupie. That's what I was. And after a couple of years, my dad, he got tired of me, talking the talk, but I'm walking the walk. And he did something really smart. He said, Ruben, you don't have to read books. Why don't you read some biographies? If you study the lives of great people, you'll figure out what works and what doesn't work in life, because success leaves clues. I thought success leaves clues. You mean I don't have to make all the mistakes by myself? I can learn from somebody else? And so I started reading them. And I liked them right away because I realized these are true life adventures. And after a while, I realized, every biography is the same story. It's always a story of somebody had a dream, then they went through a struggle, and they had a victory. It's always dream, struggle, victory. And I wanted to see, okay, well, what can I learn from these people? What's one thing that these people have in common? Maybe I can work on that. I can't work on 20 different things, but maybe one. And what I kept seeing over and over again was perseverance. I mean, these people they were just a bunch of hardheads. I mean, if your mom called you a hardhead when you're growing up, man, you got what it takes. You just got to develop it a little bit. And so some of these people I read about, it's like 20 years, they're banging their head on the wall trying to figure out how to make that dream come true. They didn't quit. They either figured it out on their own through sheer trial and error, or they ran to somebody that became their coach or mentor, and they followed in their footsteps and they made it that way. But the ones that quit, you never hear about those, right? And so after reading a few biographies, I made a decision. As a 12-year-old, I made a decision to change my life. I realized, hey, if quitting is the end of your dream, and perseverance, at least you're still in the game, you still got a shot. No guarantees, but you still got a shot. It's a no-brainer. From today on, Ruben doesn't quit anything. I mean, I just made it a line in the sand. I promised myself I'm never quitting anything. And by high school, my nickname was Bulldog. I mean, one day I'm walking out of the library, this kid goes, "Your name needs to be Bulldog." I said, "Why?" "Because bulldogs never quit, man. They're bred to be tenacious." I turned around, went back in the library, got me a book about bulldogs, and it checked out, right? And I got so excited about what I read. I ran out of that library. First person I met, I said, "My name's Ruben. You can call me Bulldog." I didn't even know I was doing this, but I was creating positive peer pressure to make me more perseverant, because now I had to live up to the name. The other thing my dad always said was the books you read, people you hang around with. Those two things, right, will determine whether you reach your goal or not. And so he said, you want to hang around people that you have respect for, not people that you have influence over, right? You don't want to follow whiners and complainers and people who are making excuses. You want to follow somebody who's already done it, right? That's your mentor. Somebody's already done what you want to do. And he said, look, you'll feel awkward. You'll feel strange, but force yourself to hang around those people, because if you do, it'll rub off on you. You'll start thinking big like they do, because they think big, okay? And they're always focusing on the dream. Successful people focus on the dream. They never focus on the obstacles. There's always going to be obstacles, but you focus on the dream, because the dream gives you strength and power, everything you need to bust through and get through those obstacles, right? Average people, they focus on what they don't want to happen. Successful people, they think about, they talk about, they write about what they want to happen. That's their focus, right? And they become known for their dream. They become known for their goal. And it's funny, you know, an average person, they call you, you're just obsessive, you're just a fanatic. Well, what's fanatic and obsessive for them? It's just a little bit focused for us. You know, it's just a different way of living. And so they ask different questions too. I mean, successful people, they ask questions like, why not me? Why not now? Why not? I mean, those are great questions to ask yourself, because it opens up your mind to the possibilities. And you go to sleep and you wake up in the middle of the night with some great ideas, right? You start seeing opportunities that were there before, but you didn't see them before. But now, because you're so focused, you can see them. You see things that could help you reach that goal, that dream. And so they became my dream team, right? I mean, I still have my dream team where my advisors, right? It's like my board of directors. Whenever I need some advice or a question, man, I'll call them up. And so little Argentine boys, we're soccer fanatics, okay? And I played soccer all my life. If you do anything long enough, you pick up the skills. I'm pretty good with a soccer ball, but I'm a slowpoke. So I was still on the bench because the other guy got to the ball first. I mean, it was so frustrating. But I found out, I lived in Houston. We were in Queens for a couple of years and most of my life in Houston, Texas. And I found out that I started asking myself those questions, right? Why not me? Why not now? Why not? And I found out that Houston Baptist University had an NCAA Division I soccer team. That's the highest level of collegiate soccer. I hadn't even played in high school. My high school didn't have a soccer team. I just played in some clubs. But why not, right? And so I found out, hey, there's a day you can try out. So I went and I tried out. And I made the team. I mean, I couldn't believe it. Overnight job, right? I even got a scholarship. My dad got excited about that part. Well, a couple of weeks into the season, you know, we're at practice. And coach says, hey, Ruben, after practice, come to my office. I got to talk to you. So I go to the office. He says, close the door, sit down. He says, Ruben, obviously, you had an incredible day that couple of weeks ago when we tried out because, man, you're really not that good. I mean, you're too slow, man. You're holding us back. The new rule around here is you get to play only if we're winning by 2 goals because you're a threat to our old team. I mean, he said that. That's what he said to me. I mean, real motivator, right? But you know what? It didn't even hurt. I was still so happy to be part of the team that my new goal in life was don't get cut, right? I'm do whatever it takes to not get cut. I like being on this team. And so I became the Rudy of the team. If you ever seen that movie, Rudy, same thing. You know, a lot of heart, but no body. And so I just started doing marketing for the team, making posters, putting them everywhere just so more people would come watch us. Sometimes I'd mow the lawn, I'd wash the soccer balls, whatever it took, right? And I figured if this guy cuts me, he's gonna have to hire 3 guys to replace me. And I was on the team for 3 years, and finally I quit because I wasn't getting anywhere with soccer, and I was starting to get focused with the luge, and so it didn't make sense anymore. But for 3 years, I was on the traveling squad. But this is what the games are like. I mean, when I'm sitting on the bench, we score a goal, I get excited. But we score another goal, I get to play. The other team scores, I got to sit down. And that was it. 5 minutes a game, okay? I mean, that was it. And but I was on the team. And around that time, I'm 21 years old. The Olympics roll around again. 1984, Sarajevo Winter Olympic Games. And I'm watching them on TV. And I see this little guy, about 5'1". He must have weighed 115 pounds soaking wet. This little 18-year-old kid wins the gold medal in figure skating, Scott Hamilton. Yeah, when I saw Scott Hamilton, he gave me hope. I thought to myself, man, if that little guy can win, I can at least play. I'll be in the next Olympics no matter what. It's a done deal. I just got to find a sport. So, you know, I had a goal, I had a dream with a deadline, right? 4 years, I'm either in or I'm out. So when you have a deadline, you know, that gives you urgency, right? There's no time to lose. So I went back to the library. I got to find a sport. I got this big book about the Olympics. I'm looking at the whole list of the summer sports. It took me 5 minutes to realize, man, you got to be a super athlete to do any of this stuff. There's no way. And I got down. And then I started looking at the list of the winter sports. as I'm looking at that list, the analytical side of my brain kicked in. I started thinking, hey, I'm about to put together a plan for the next 4 years. It probably will make sense to base the plan on my strengths. My strength's not athleticism. I'm just an okay athlete. My strength's perseverance. I'm bulldog, remember? So I thought, I got to find a sport that's so tough. A sport's got so many broken bones on that there'll be a lot of quitters. Only I won't quit. I'll make it to the top on the attrition rate. That's my whole plan. I want to outlast everybody. So now I'm looking for tough sports. Ski jump, bobsled, luge. Well, I lived in Houston, Texas. I never skied before, so forget ski jump. That would have been suicide. Bobsled. Where are you going to find 3 other nuts in Houston that want to do the bobsled, right? You got to go to Jamaica for that, right? Hey, by the way, we're going to do some Q&A afterwards. I've got a great story about the Jamaican bobsledders. Just somebody asked me about them because it's great. And one of them, we're good friends. He's a speaker too, okay? He makes fun of me in his talks, okay? So we're even. Anyways, so that left the luge. I didn't even know where the luge was, where the track was. So what do? Well, my dad always said, life is a series of, you're gonna have to cross a series of minefields, okay? Now, the best way to cross a minefield is to follow somebody that's already crossed it, preferably somebody that's still walking. And so he was always telling me, find the coach, find the mentor, find somebody that's already done what you want to do. Well, nobody in Houston's going to know where the luge track is. Sports Illustrated, it's their job to know. So I wrote him a letter. This is before the internet. I wrote him a letter, really good letter, really short letter. Where do you go learn how to luge? Signed, Ruben. That's it, bottom line, all right? Sent it to them. They actually wrote me back. And they said, Lake Placid, New York. That's where the track is. And they sent me this picture of a guy on a luge. As soon as I got that picture, put it in a frame, put it right in front of my bed in my bedroom. First person I saw in the morning when I woke up was the luge man, right? He reminded me, hey, I'm going for the Olympics. I got to eat right. I got to hang around winners. Got to read good books. Got to work out. At night, before I shut off the lights, the last person I saw was the luge man, right? And so what do you think I dreamt about at night? The luge, the Olympics. He kept me going. He kept me going. You want to put pictures of your dream all around you. You want to talk about it because otherwise, you know what happens? Life happens, all right? And 5, 6 months go by, a year goes by, year and a half goes by, and then you realize, oh yeah, I was training for the Olympics. I just blew a year and a half. It's true. So you got to keep it in front of you. You got to stay focused. I write it down. I would say write down your goal every morning and every night. Every morning. It only takes a second, okay? It doesn't have to be a sentence. It can just be what you want to do. And just write it down. And close your eyes for a second and think about how you're going to feel when you reach it. Okay? Visualization is not so much about visualizing it with your eyes. It's about grabbing hold of those feelings, right? And then, man, you get to the point where you start believing, and it gets into your subconscious, and your self-image changes, right? Because you see yourself as somebody capable of doing that, and you get hungry, and you start doing the work, and look out, you start attracting resources that were there before. They weren't going to help you before, but everybody wants to help somebody that's committed, somebody that's a winner, somebody that's going for it. And so your whole life changes when you get focused like that. So I had that picture, and so I called Lake Placid. I'm an athlete here in Houston. I want to learn how to luge. I'll be in the Olympics in 4 years. Will you help me? And the guy goes, how old are you? And I said, 21. He starts laughing. He goes, forget it, man. You're too old. We start them off when they're 8, 9, 10 years old. By now you should have 10 years experience. No way. No way. I didn't know what to do. I thought I was going to welcome me. Here this guy's laughing at my dream. I mean, you guys ever have somebody laugh at your dream? It stinks, doesn't it? You know what you do? You disassociate from that person. Because when you tell somebody about your dream and they laugh at you, nothing wrong with you, nothing wrong with your dream. That person just doesn't believe as much as you do. And so get away from them, because their disbelief can cause doubt in your belief, and they can steal your dream. So you associate with winners and disassociate from the losers, because they can change, they can steal your dream. So, but I couldn't afford to do that. This guy's, he's my connection to the luge track. And so I thought, man, hanging up's not an option. What am I going to do? And one of the things one of my dream team friends had said was, a couple of times in your life, or a few times in your life, you're going to be going after something 100 miles an hour, and boom, you're going to hit this wall you didn't know existed. When that happens, immediately start telling yourself, there's always a way, there's always a way, there's always a way. I'll find a way. God always gives me a way. And if I don't quit, I'll find a way. And so I got that going on in my head, and that gets you into possibility solution finding mode, right? And so I got that going in my head. I'm just talking to this guy, telling my life story, and finally says, okay, well, we got a class coming up in the spring, and in about a month. It's going to be on wheels. And so if you want to come up to Lake Placid, you can do that. But you know what? If you want to do it in just 4 years, it's going to be brutal, all right? 9 out of 10 people quit. When he said that, I started smiling. I thought, wow, this worked right into my plan. This is awesome. I said, what else? He goes, you expect to break some bones, okay? And I said, great. And he got all quiet for a while. And he comes back, he goes, what's wrong with you, man? I told you you're going to break some bones. That makes you happy. And I just told him, look, man, I hope it's 10 times harder what you're telling me, because the harder it is, the easier it is for me, because I'm not a winner. I'm a winner. I'm bulldog, right? I'm not going to quit. I'm not a quitter. And so I'm bulldog. I was praying that some of the Germans would quit, because they totally dominate the sport. I didn't pray hard enough. They show up, they race, pick up their medals, and go home. They don't even get excited anymore. They got so many medals. They have new problems. Where am I going to put this one? So that's what I did. So I go. And he said, we're going to have to cram 10 years of luge training into just 2 years. That's why you're going to get hurt, right? Because we're going to rush you through this thing. You'd be cramming. I said, man, I've been cramming tests all my life, man. This fits like a glove. But the second 2 years, we're going to put you into the World Cup circuit. You'll be competing against the best in the world. And you try and get World Cup points. That's what determines your ranking. And right before the Olympics, top 50 get to go. 51 watch it on TV. And so, fine, I'll go. And so I went. And they put me in this class with 15 guys. And this is only a couple of months after I saw Scott Hamilton. I'm in Lake Placid learning how to luge. We're going to go from the half-mile point of the old bobsled track and on these little sleds with wheels. We're going to be hitting 50, 55 miles an hour. All we're wearing is tennis shoes, shorts, and a T-shirt. Yeah, and a helmet, but the helmet's just for decoration, okay? And it's just to make the lawyers happy. You crash on the concrete at 55 miles an hour, that helmet, you know, you're there to protect the helmet. That's how it works. But anyways, they put me in this class, and every day there's 1 or 2 guys quitting. It was crazy, you know? Oh, it's too expensive. Oh, it's too far away. Oh, I miss my family. Oh, I don't like the luge. I didn't like the luge either. I was killing myself out there. First 2 years, I was crashing 4 out of 5 times. 4 out of 5. I mean, that hurt, okay? But I kept at it. And after a while, I was crashing 3 out of 5. And by the end of the second year, I'm crashing about 1 out of 100. I finally figured out how to drive that darn sled. And by then, there's no competition because they all quit. I mean, it's not that simple, right? I mean, you got to read the book if you want to get the details. But basically, I outlasted people. I did. And I didn't like it, okay? For 25 years, I didn't like the luge. I didn't. I was scared to death. I hated it. I had bruises all the time. But I saw the luge as the vehicle that was going to get me to the dream, the Olympics. So what do I focus on? The Olympics, opening ceremonies. That bumped me up. And I was willing to do anything to do that. Yeah, it's going to be tough. I mean, any worthwhile dream, it's going to be tough. And what do you focus on? You focus on how you going to feel, right? And so on the 4th year, I cracked into the top 50 and I made the Calgary Olympics, 1988 Calgary Olympic Games. Oh my gosh. Now, even before my first Olympics, I might have been jogging. I might have been lifting weights. I might have been eating dinner. I might have been walking down the mall. You know what's going on in here all the time? I could see myself walking to the opening ceremonies. I could see all the people cheering. It was so exciting. And I could see, man, there's the Olympic flag, and there's the rings. We're here. Here's the Olympic torch burning brightly, and the Olympic orchestra playing the Olympic anthem, my favorite song in the whole wide world. And we're high-fiving each other. We made it. We made it. It was worth it. And you can feel the snow hitting your face, and you can feel the tears of joy and the goosebumps everywhere, okay? I mean, I can feel them right now. I really can. And 4 years later, when I actually walked into that stadium, it was just like I imagined it, only 100 times better. It was awesome, awesome. The mind can't tell the difference between something that you're vividly imagining with all your heart and all your soul and all your senses and all your passion. It can't tell the difference between that and something that's actually happening. So you go through that little exercise. What's it going to feel like? What's it going to taste like? What's going to be like when I finally make my dream come true? You get strong inside. You start walking differently. You start talking differently. All of a sudden, those small-minded people that used to make fun of you, they disappear from your life because they're after somebody that's weak, right? All of a sudden, you start attracting resources that were there before, but They weren't coming to you before because everybody wants to help a winner. Everybody wants to help somebody that believes. I mean, your whole life changes. And that's why I tell you it's so important. First thing in the morning, last thing at night, write it down, close your eyes for a couple of minutes and just picture it. What's it going to feel like? And get into it, okay? And the Champions Creed, Sarah was showing us this card. I made this affirmation because when I was getting banged up the first couple of years, I realized, man, I actually realized I need to become an expert in mental toughness because obviously to make up for the fact that I'm not a great athlete, and this is going to be tough. It's going to be tough. So I just started asking all the Olympians, about mental toughnness, and then I would ask the coaches. I would read all the books. I actually teach a 90-minute course on how to perform better under pressure, right? Because it's just a skill. You learn the skill, and these things that you do to help yourself, program yourself to do it. Michael, can you see me? Can you guys hear me still? Katie?
Yep, you're doing great, Ruben.
Okay, thanks. Because I touched my, these things, you touch them and sometimes you turn them off, right? So okay, awesome, good. So anyways, mental toughness is huge because everybody's going to go through struggles, and so it helps you get through those struggles, and it helps you pass the competition during the tough times. For example, when COVID hit, I've been a professional speaker since 2002, full time. When COVID hit, all of a sudden we started getting cancellations left and right. And I realized, okay, I need to figure out, the virtual side of this, right? And me and a couple of other speakers, we said, let's figure out, let's make as many mistakes as we can, as quickly as we can, because you learn from your mistakes, and let's just, share what we learned. And in a couple of weeks, we pretty much figured it out, and it was okay. We were able to weather the storm. But the people that just wait, and don't do anything, and wait for this to blow over, man, those guys probably went out of business. You got to allow yourself to fail fast, right? So you learn from your failure, and you can win fast too afterwards. But I'm going to leave you guys with a thought, and then I guess we can start doing some Q&A. And I warn you, my answers are usually 5-minute long stories, okay? So, but it's fun. Anyways, I'm going to leave you with this thought. What are the chances somebody like me can make it to the Olympics even one time? All right. I mean, I wasn't a great athlete. I didn't get started till I was 21. I lived in hot and humid Houston. I go pick the luge, for Pete's sake. I mean, most people would say it's 1 in a million. Well, I got to tell you, it was inevitable, because I took action. I refused to quit. I followed my coaches, my mentors. I stayed focused. I learned how to be mentally tough. It wasn't 1 in a million. It was inevitable. And what are the chances that you guys are going to make this best year ever? Well, it's not 1 in a million. No, as long as you, stay focused, figure out what you want, try new things, right, till you figure out what you want. And if you need a coach or a mentor, follow them and don't quit. It's not 1 in a million. It's inevitable. Right. So next time you have one of those days, how a bug smashes into the windshield of a car, well, one of those days that you feel like that bug, just remember that guy that got to go to the Olympics from Houston, right? Because somebody like me can do that. You guys can do anything, especially you already have dream team level people living in your communities, because it was successful people from many different areas. So you got a built-in mastermind there. I mean, you got power in those communities, and I mean, it's just there for the taking. Yeah, I'm excited for y'all.
So Ruben, Sarah here. I stepped away.
Hello, Sarah.
I'm back.
Can you leave?
I can't believe I just did that. So a couple of quick things. I'm going to start the bidding off with, you want us to ask about the bobsled team, but I have another one first before that. So the one thing about our demographic is many of us, our kids have had grandkids. So when I think about the tenacity that it took for you to get focused and really, because a lot of our grandkids are playing sports and some of them are really not great, if you know what I mean. Their hand-eye coordination isn't very good yet, but what would you say to a really young person, maybe 7 to 9 years old, about playing a sport, even though they're not really good? I know what my dad would have told me. What would you tell your kids?
I'll tell you what I've always told my kids. I don't praise them for being a great athlete or for being smart or for being pretty or handsome. Because when you tell them something like that, they feel like they've arrived, right? And this new status, they're afraid to lose the status. So they stop trying, right? And they level off. Rather, I always praise them for their work ethic, for their perseverance, for how tenacious they are. And here's an example. When we moved to Colorado Springs about 10 years ago, our daughter was 10 and our son was 6. And we went to the Olympic Training Center, my son and I. And it was an Olympic day. You had to, they had exhibitions of all the different sports, and that's where they recruit little kids, try to get them interested. And then maybe 20 years later, they're at the Olympics. Mm-hmm. So we looked at several things, and nothing caught Grayson's eye. Grayson's our boy. And finally, we went down these steps, and there was this dojo, and there's this karate guy, right, a black belt karate guy in front of a mat, and he sees Grayson, and I points to Grayson. He goes, "You come here." Okay. And he walks up, and he has him stand right in front of him, right? I mean, the guy's standing up. I'm in this little room. So he's standing up, and he's got Grayson facing that way, right? And there's a mat in front of him. And Grayson's tiny. They were both preemies, so they're little, on top of being just 6 years old. And he says, "Grab my arm right here, pull across my like you're doing a sit-up, okay? Just do that." And he does, right? And the guy basically did a front flip over Grayson. But Grayson thought that he'd thrown him, and he turns around and he goes, "Dad, I want to do judo." Right? That's how they get people to sign up. It's pretty smart. So he's a little salesman. We came home and he talked to his older sister, to come too. Now it turns out that the coach there, he was the first American to win a medal in judo for the U.S. back in the '84 Olympics, in the LA Olympics, and he's the coach of the Paralympics team too. Wow. So this was really, we had Olympians and Paralympians training. Sometimes they'd be finished their training, and then they had all the little kids, and coach would grab a couple of the champs, right? The athletes are actually living there in the village. He says, "Hey, I need some help, guys." So they're learning in tip-top place. And coach said, "Hey, Ruben, we're going to have to manage Grayson's expectations, because girls, they number one, they mature faster, and she's already 4 years older than him, so she's probably going to get it before he does, and we don't want to get discouraged as coach. Whatever you say goes, okay? I'm coachable, and believe me, they're coachable too." And so Gabby, every 3 months, they would have these tournaments. And Gabby she had this little shimmy move that she would do, throw the opponent off balance, and she's winning medals every time. I mean, she had all these gold medals. Grayson, nothing. He didn't win a single bout in a year and a half, okay? I mean, a year and a half. And I used to joke with him. I said, "Hey, Grayson, you know what the ceiling of every dojo looks like, man, because it's you're always on your back. But it's okay, buddy. You're growing. You don't quit on me, okay? You just stick it out. You're gonna grow it on the inside. He's gonna pop out one of these days." And he keeps going. And right before the 7th tournament, coach says, "Hey, he's starting to get it." And on the 7th, he wins the medal. He wins the gold, right? He comes to me. He's all proud, all poofed up. He goes, "Dad." He goes, yeah. The medal's nice, but you know what I'm proud about? I'm proud about the fact that you didn't quit when 99% of the people would have quit. You just went through such a tough learning process, and you are a champion because you didn't quit. You take that attitude anywhere else in your life, man, you can do anything. And so, see, I don't care. And I've told them a million times, I've told them, look, you don't have to be into sports to please me. You don't have to go to the Olympics to please me. You please me because you're my kids. You got to figure out what you want to do. You could be a gold medal teacher. You could be a gold medal engineer. You could be a gold medal pilot, whatever, right? So you figure out what your dream is, and I will do everything I can to hook you up the right people so they can teach you how to do it. And right. And they're rocking and rolling, because it's about the character. It's not about the results. The results will take care of themselves if we grow the character.
Great answer. Thanks, Ruben. Katie Beth, I'm going to let you take it from here and you can start asking. I've seen quite a few questions come in, so you can take it from here.
That was one of my short answers.
Perfect, perfect. Well, thank you so much, Sarah. Yes, we have a couple of questions, and then if you have any questions along the way, feel free to put it in that little chat feature there and we'll pull them up for you. But you know, you mentioned that you had a story about the Jamaican bobsled team, or the Jamaican team, so go ahead and you can tell that story.
Oh, really? Man, that's like the 100th time that question's come up first. Okay, here we go. You guys have seen Cool Runnings, right? And so that was the Calgary Olympics. That's my first Olympics, the Jamaicans' first Olympics, and Eddie the Eagle too. I mean, and so they got. I still need to get a movie, but I'll get one. Just give me some time. But anyways, the Jamaicans, man, I get up there and they're getting bullied by the Swiss, right? The Swiss and the Germans are making fun of them. They're saying, "Hey, you know, why don't you go back to the beach and play with your inflatable toy?" I mean, they're really, you know, making fun of them. And I was shocked because it was very un-Olympic behavior, right? And after I saw it 2 or 3 times, I went up to one of the Jamaicans and I asked him, "Man, what's it feel like? I mean, these guys are laughing at your face." And I'll never forget what this guy said. He said, "We're winners. We intend to get the last laugh." I thought, whoa, these guys are tough, right? So I kept my eye on them. And 4 years later, we're at the Albertville Olympics in France. And they got 4 more years experience. And think about it. These are Jamaican runners, okay, Jamaican sprinters that didn't qualify for the Olympics, but you know, Jamaican sprinters, they're fast, okay, they were probably better athletes than anybody on the luge circuit, but they had not learned the bobsled, right, the bobsled circuit, but they hadn't learned how to drive yet and how to get in. I mean, they'd only been sliding for less than a year, okay. That's why they were making fun of them. It wasn't a race thing at all. In fact, one of them told me, "No, it wasn't about race. We just hadn't paid the price yet. You know, we got to earn your respect." Same thing happened to me. The Germans didn't start, you know, even talking to me until 2 years after my first Olympics. I mean, it was terrible. But anyways, so by Albertville, you know, they got 4 years experience. They're pretty good. You know, few people are laughing, but nobody's laughing at their face anymore. By Salt Lake City, man, they've been sliding for almost 15 years. They're solid, okay? I mean, they actually beat one of the U.S. sleds. They got a Disney movie. They're laughing all the way to the bank, right? And so what I learned from the Jamaicans is that average people, and that's most everybody out there, when you tell them about your goals, your dreams, your aspirations, they're going to go through three phases. First, they're going to laugh at you. Then they're going to watch you. When you start making things happen, they're going to admire you. But you got to be able to handle it when they're laughing. In fact, I use that as an indicator. You know, if I have a big dream and I start telling people about it, if I don't get a few snickers and laughs, rolled eyes once in a while, I know that I'm not dreaming big enough. You know, it's got to be, your dream has to be big enough that takes your breath away, keeps you up at night. You know, it's just it just gives you goosebumps just thinking about it.
Well, thank you, Ruben. All right, so I have another question for you. So how did you prepare yourself mentally when you first started to luge? You mentioned before it's a very physical sport, but really, how did you prepare like mentally for that?
Right. You know, when I first called Lake Placid, and that guy was making fun of me, and not making fun of me, but he wasn't candy coating it, right? It was almost like he's trying to talk me out of it over the phone. It made me realize, you know, this is gonna be tough, right? You know, he said, "I'm gonna break some bones." Okay, well, let's say I break a bone. How am I gonna handle it? This is even before I left, right? Got me thinking. Well, I've broken bones before. You know, you wear a cast for 40 days, you take it off, it's stronger than before. So when you think about it, you know, broken bones are temporary inconvenience, right? So, okay, I can handle that. So then when I went and I did break bones, I broke my foot twice, my knee, my elbow, my hand, my thumb, a couple of ribs. I mean, neck always hurts because you're pulling 6 G's on some of those curves. And so, but I went in with a contingency plan, right? How am I gonna deal with it? And I was ready for it. These guys that quit, maybe they thought it was going to be easy. Heck, it's downhill. You're laying down. They're getting better than that. You know, no. Maybe they weren't ready for it. They were quitting because they had a bruise. Maybe they didn't want it as bad as I did, right? Because you have to have, remember, you have to have the passion, right? You gotta be passionate about your goal. If you're not passionate about it, when the going gets tough, you're gonna quit. So maybe they didn't want it as bad. So that's what you do. That's one thing you do. In luge, we do a lot of visualization, right? We're taking mind runs, we call them. And right before a training run or an actual race run, we'll take about 10 mind runs, right? And you're just closing your eyes and you're going through the track, and you're trying to feel what you're going to do the whole way down with your perfect run, right? Because you're trying to lock in that feeling. And when you're actually doing it, you want to trust in your training and let your subconscious flow and not to be thinking too much. You're just doing it. But then when we're at the hotel, we're doing escape route visualizations. That means all contingency plans, right? What am I going to do if I'm too early into curve one? What am I going to do if I'm a little late? What am I going to do if I hit the left wall before one? What am I going to do if I hit the right wall? And then you do that for the whole track, and you get to a point where you know that you can handle anything that track can dish out, and so that gives you confidence, right? And so confidence doesn't come from faking it till you make it. It comes from getting out there, training, doing it, learning, taking your licks, and then you get to a point you realize, hey, I got it. I can do this. That's a little bitty part. I mean, I do an hour and a half thing on mental toughness. Hey guys, by the way, that Champions Creed, if you want to print one up for yourself, just go to thechampionscreed.com and you get this PDF that it'll print up into a letter-sized Champions Creed, right? And then what you do is you tape it on your mirror where you brush your teeth. That's the best time to read affirmations, right? You're looking at yourself, eyeball to eyeball, and you read it like you're mad. I am a champion. I got the will to win. I'm gonna win. I refuse to quit. And when you're done, you are it's like you put on Superman outfit, right? You're ready to, save the world. And it's, yeah, well, that makes you strong inside. You basically give yourself a pep talk, and it works. It really works.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that, Ruben. All right. So can you tell us in your opinion, what are the Olympics really about? We have them coming up later this summer. It's something that everyone looks forward to every couple of years. But really, from your perspective, what do you feel like the Olympics are truly about?
When you're in the Olympic Village, nobody's walking. Everybody's floating with a silly smile on their face, okay? And the ones that are serious looking, it's because they're competing today. But it's everybody, and there's many different competitions going on, even in the men's luge race, okay? There's 2 or 3 guys that have a chance to win the gold medal, right? Number 5, he's not going to win the gold medal, okay? He just won't. And then there's it's a number 10, he's trying to beat number 5. And number 15 is trying to beat 10. And it's pride thing all the way down. If you guys have watched the Netflix series, the Formula One series called Drive to Survive, you can see that, because you can see how these teams, if that team makes 4th place at the end of the whole season, it's champagne time, because that was their goal. And because they're not ready for 3 yet, but they're ready for 4th. And so for 80% of the athletes, 80% of the athletes are not going to come home with a medal, all right? Their medal is walking in the opening ceremonies, being able to represent their country, and being able to compete in the biggest arena in the world. And so most people don't understand that. And so the Olympics are a place that showcases to the world the power of the human spirit. The fact that if you have a dream, you're willing to go for it. You refuse to quit. Dreams do come true. And that's why it's all about the dream. And pay attention this summer when they're interviewing athletes. The word dream is going to pop out all the time. They don't tell us to say that. It just comes out, right? It was my dream. It was my dream. And so that's what it is. It's about the dream, and it's about the possibility. And you watch those people that have overcome. Oh my gosh, I know this gal from Hungary. She got cancer a year and a half before the Olympics, and she thought, there's no way, right? I don't have strength to walk around and be in the Olympics. Forget it. This is the first time they're going to have women's bobsled. It was going to be in the Salt Lake City Olympics 2002. She maxed out her credit cards, bought a bobsled, went to bobsled driving school, went back to Hungary because she was Hungarian. She recruited this, she had to find somebody that's strong and fast, and found a discus thrower, and she was going to be the brakeman. And only the top 15 sleds are going to make it. Okay, not the top 50, top 15, because it's a new sport. And when she got cancer, she just forget it. I'm done. And then her teammate brings her Lance Armstrong's book about how he overcame cancer to win the Tour de France over and over. And she got inspired. And she says, you know what? I'm not going to do it for me. I'm going to do it for cancer survivors. I'm going to show them that cancer will knock you down, but they have to knock you out. And so they painted the sled pink. They painted a pink ribbon on it, and they called it Sled Full of Hope, right? There's the little title on it. And they started training and racing. And they missed it by one. They were number 16. And last minute, Canada decided not to send their second sled because it wasn't up to Canadian standards. That bumped her up to 15, and she made it. And when she told me that story, and she was 39, or 34, I was 39 in Salt Lake City. And when she told me that, I gave her a big hug. I told her, I would rather know you than all the medalists combined, because you're what the Olympics are all about. That's what it's all about. It's overcoming.
So speaking of overcoming, that was a fantastic story. But speaking of overcoming, what is one, I kind of want to round it out with this of like, what is one quality that all successful people have that you have seen? What is something that our Trilogy residents and members can really take from this, of like one little nugget of wisdom that if you were to remember this, like, and succeeding going forward, what is that little like nugget of wisdom for you?
It's, I see it over and over again. It's perseverance. It's just refusing to quit. And I tell my kids ever since they were little, we homeschooled our kids from day one. And I say we, but I didn't teach a single class. Okay, my wife taught everything. I just taught attitude. That was what I taught them, right? And stick-to-itiveness and mental toughness. And they're tough, both of them, right? And but I would tell them, you know what? Everything's hard at the beginning. Everything's hard at the beginning. You have to expect it, okay? Whenever you try something new, it's going to be hard because you don't know anything. You don't know any of the tricks, okay? And so you have to be strong enough to make it through that period of time, and you learn it, and then you use those tricks, right? You learn the skills, and you use the skills, and it gets easier and easier. And then when you reach your dream, everybody says you were lucky. No, you weren't lucky. You're lucky that you were mentally tough, right? And you were persevering, you refused to quit. But you don't tell your kids, oh, you're a winner, you're a champion, you're the best, you're so cute, you're so smart. No, because then they think they arrived and it's done, right? You said, hey, you're awesome. You're so persevering. You have so much character. You have so much poise. Oh my gosh, the way you talk to those adults, the way you carry yourself, I'm impressed. See, that's different, right? And it's about everything's hard at the beginning, right? So expect this. So persevere. Be ready for it. I would tell them, man, life's gonna knock you down. You're gonna have bloody knees because life is tough, guys. Okay, I tell them this. I prepare them for battle because life is tough. I said, bad stuff's gonna happen. It's gonna knock you. You have bloody knees. You know what you're gonna do though? Because we're winners around here. Okay, we're bulldogs. You guys are little bulldogs. I'm the big bulldog. No chihuahuas in our house. All right. You know what you're gonna do when life knocks you down? Pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and get back in the game. And you're gonna get stronger. And every time you go back in the game, it's gonna be easier and easier and easier because you're growing. And that's how you reach your goal. That's how you reach your dream. Persevere.
Perfect, Ruben. Thank you so much. I think it's definitely something that our Trilogy members can take out of this presentation, especially. And thank you for all your wise words today.
Yeah, they're all big kids.
All right. So how can if people would like, how can they get in touch with you? If they have additional questions.
Is that it? We don't have any more questions? I'll go a little longer if you want. No? Oh, a bunch of shy people. Okay. Well, the easiest way is.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, of course, Michael.
Yeah.
Okay, one comment and two questions. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. I really like the comment that you made about a gold medal. You can be a gold medal teacher, a gold medal engineer, a gold medal. I really like that because there are so many people that earn the gold medal in other areas. It doesn't have to be sports related. Comment. Now, what do the other luge, the riders, the Olympians, what did they do when they were in high school or college or younger? And the second question, Ruben, when you go down the hill and you're, 28th 100ths of a second behind somebody and you got 20 people within 2 seconds, when you finish and you're with your coaches, what do you guys talk about? Put your arm in a little bit, stop breathing, run faster.
Breathe. Okay, so what was the first question? I already
What did
forgot.
other luge participants,
what did they do?
As a young?
Well, the ones in that they grew up in Lake Placid, they all went to a high school over there, Plattsburgh, I think. I forget where it was. It was this high school where all the athletes went, and I guess they had to move. They had a different schedule where they had to get your stuff done, but there was flexibility. And for me, luckily, I went to Houston Baptist University. We were in the quarter system, so I would just take the winter quarter off and make it up in the summer. So it worked out for me. So you finish a luge run, and the funny thing is, you take 50 people and on a World Cup race day, you give me the 50 or the 100 people that are racing that day. Everybody knows, all of us know what the order is going to be, because it's like clockwork. Even though they all come in within a little teeny tiny time. I mean, the first 10 might come in within 0.2 of a second. Okay, but it's always the same order. I mean, if it was a betting sport, we'd be rich, right? And so, yeah. And so, and here's the other thing that's unbelievable to me. I mean, it just goes to show how powerful the mind is and how much we can do. Yeah. I finish a luge run, and this is not just me; it's everybody. Finish a luge run. Any of us can tell you within a couple of tenths of a second what our time was. What are the chances, right? We know where we messed up. So you get to the bottom, right? We usually take 3 runs in the morning, and we go eat lunch. 3 runs in the afternoon. Each run takes 45 minutes to an hour because it's one at a time. It just takes a long time. Go eat lunch, 3 in the afternoon, go back. We watch videos because they're videotaping us, right? So we can figure out what we did wrong and how to improve. And then we spend about an hour working on our sleds, preparing them for tomorrow. And then on Friday, before our races on Saturday, we spend a couple of hours to, we're going from, we can go all the way from 60 grit to 1,000 grit sandpaper on our steels. And then on Friday night, on top of that, we'll do five levels of diamond paste, right? You can look at yourself on those steels. You finish your run. And in my case, especially the first years, I was like out of breath. I pick up the walkie-talkie because there's a bunch of walkie-talkies down here because there's coaches up and down the track. I pick up the walkie-talkie. My coach is a 4-time Olympian from Austria, okay? 6'6", sounds like Arnold Schwarzenegger. His standards are through the roof, right? Because he's champion, world champion, a bunch of times. And tough as nails. I mean, his favorite hat's a helmet. His favorite car's a tank. I mean, that's this kind of guy. I pick up the walkie-talkie. Coach, this is Ruben. Ruben, knock, come on. Bad news. Nothing good comes after knock, come on. He goes, Ruben, knock, come on. You must put your head further back. And Ruben, you must point your toes more. Ruben, you were so late on curve 6. You must steer harder on curve 6. And Ruben, relax. Be one with the sled. Have fun. Click. Be one with the sled, man. You started when you're 5 years old, for Pete's sake. Nuts. He's nuts. And I'll yell at him because he's not there for 5 minutes. And then I realize, man, he's right. Curve 6, that's when I lost it. That's when I lost control. That's when I started hitting the walls. I gotta get back on the sled. I can do it. I mean, I'm walking up and down the track. I can do it. I'm a winner. I'm going to the Olympics. I can do it. And finally, after doing that long enough, the belief kicks in and the courage kicks in. and you say to yourself, man, oh, we'll get on that sled. When I do, I'm pointing those toes, head's going back. I'm steering harder, harder on that curve 6. I'm going to relax and look out. I'm going to have my best run ever. And I did. But I never would have made it to the Olympics without coach, because in 15 seconds, he can take, he takes all that fear that I have, and he reminds me of the dream, the Olympics. He couldn't have done it without him. I mean, that's so, and many times you think that your next struggle is like climbing Mount Everest, but for coach, because you don't know what the answer is, you don't know how to do it. But coach has done that a million times. Just a piece of cake, do this, this, and this. What's your next problem, right? So that takes care of your non-belief. You're riding on his belief, and it's tough. But and it's funny. The first 4 years, I had a coach, and he was a great coach for learning. Right? He was kind of like a youth pastor. He makes it fun, and and so he's just a gun-ho, fun guy, right? And he kept guys in. And then right when we finished our competition at the Calgary Olympics in 1988, a buddy of mine from the Spanish team, he said, hey, there's this guy from Austria, he's recruiting some people, he's they're putting this team of international athletes, and, why don't you go talk to him? Maybe you can be part of it, because this guy will be, it's a different level. And so I'll never forget, I'm sitting in this booth in the school restaurant up in Calgary, and it wasn't an official interview, but it was, he wanted to see if I could cut it. And he says, Ruben, you must understand, I can be only one thing. I can be your coach or your friend. I cannot be both. And I said, Coach, I got a lot of friends, but I need a coach. You can be as tough with me as you need to, okay? And so that's when, but it's important, that was basically, he's saying, it's going to be, you want to be in my team, brace yourself, right? but it's good. That's what it takes.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need somebody that kicks you in the butt, once in a while.
Yep.
First time I had a clean run, you're never going to believe this. I mean, these guys, a clean run means you get down and you didn't even brush any of the walls, okay? So that's a milestone for a new luger. And I was so excited. It was 2 years after I got started. I go to this coach, he's a different coach. He goes, Coach, did you see that? I had a clean run. And he goes, good. Now you know it's possible. but good is not good enough. The 4 runs in the Olympics, you must be consistently good. Mental toughness. Thanks, Coach. But can you just smile? Can we just celebrate this moment? No. They're not your friend.
That's interesting.
Hope that answers a little bit, gives you an insight.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anybody else?
Anyone else have any questions? All right. So Ruben, how can people get in touch with you if something gets?
That's right. My website. Actually, if you go to thechampionscreed.com, that's just one page of my big website. But if you guys want to sign up for articles that I write, I mean, my article's been a bunch of big magazines all over the world. And it's all about, it's always story and then a point on how to get better, right? And so if you go to Ruben, RUBEN tips, right? So I'm gonna be giving you some tips, rubentips.com, you can sign up for there. And if you're not reading them, or if you don't like them or whatever, if it's not your thing, hit unsubscribe, man, no problem, we're still friends.
Perfect, thank you so much, Ruben. Sarah, did you want to say anything else?
Absolutely. Thanks, Katie Beth. I hope everyone that was participating today really enjoyed the presentation. I take Ruben's idea of constantly getting better and being knocked down and getting back up again just as part of life. And whether, everybody probably has come from some sort of a business or some kind of a career or started a new job where, maybe you're not thinking that you're good enough, or, I think of some of our workout facilities and some of the folks that have had transformational change. That doesn't come easily. That comes from mental toughness. So Ruben, I just want to thank you for taking the time to talk to the team today and talk to all of our members. it's really important that we constantly strive to get better, because that's how we stay on top of our game. And just want to thank you today and all of our members that participated. It was really, really great. We will be ending our recording soon, and we'll send that out so that everybody can take a look at it for those who weren't available. I talked to a lot of members yesterday that said, oh my God, that interferes with my golf game. And it's always hard to find the perfect time, but we've done our best. And really a shout out to Tassio, who he'll watch this recording soon, but he was really instrumental in helping us find Ruben. And that's what your lifestyle team is all about, is working together as a team, not exactly like a luge team, because we don't hit the ice and we don't do things. You know, our inspiration every day is finding ways to keep our members engaged and enjoying their life. So thank you, Ruben, for everything. I know people will reach out and get those tips from you. And again, I've got my Champions Creed right here, and I'm a believer in what I do for a living. So thank you very much, everybody, and hope you have a great day. Thanks again, Ruben.
Oh, thank you. Come visit me, okay? Let me know if you're
Don't
coming
worry.
out here.
I will.
All righty.
Thanks.
No, really. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.